The United States and Israel launched a major wide-scale attack on Iran after weeks of growing tension and military buildup. President Trump issued a stern warning to the country's military and police.
Lay down your arms. You will be treated fairly with total immunity, or you will face certain death.
One of the targets was the compound of Iran's supreme leader. The president believes Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, has died, as well as several high-ranking leaders. These attacks were met with swift but mixed reaction. Hundreds gathered in Times Square in protest of the joint operation. Others danced and cried in happiness following military strikes against a murderous regime.
What's the message to Iran?
Don't.
Don't. As President Biden said, just don't.
Exactly.
So deep.
One word. Pretty straightforward.
I'm going to bomb the shit out of them. It's true. I don't care. I don't care. They've got to be stopped.
All right, so here we go. So we're going to take a little example of Trump being Trump.
The United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden.
Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi is dead.
The United States launched a targeted operation against that compound.
They did a lot of shooting, and they did a lot of blasting, even not going through the front door. You know, you think you go through the door. If you're a normal person, you say, knock, knock, may I come in?
After a firefight, they killed Osama bin Laden and took custody of his body.
He died like a dog.
But his death does not mark the end of our effort.
Oh, my goodness.
A beautiful dog. A talented dog.
The most amazing
We give
dog.
thanks for the men who carried out this operation.
And I don't get any credit for this, but that's okay. I never do. But here we are.
May God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America.
And I'm writing a book. I think I wrote 12 books. All did very well. I miss Mom, though.
And I'm writing a book.
I'm writing a book.
Welcome to The
Mirror
Mirror
Years.
Years.
Good evening, I'm Joe Torres. Tanya has the
People
night
dancing
off.
was Israel.
I got mixed feelings on it. You know, I voted for Trump for no new wars and not, you know, being an Israel cuck.
Yep. I voted for Trump for no new wars and, yeah, not to be an Israel cuck.
All right, so what video did you want to get into?
Well, speaking of Israel cucks, Tucker Carlson just had an interview with Mike Huckabee exposing him as being an Israel cuck.
Actually, I think I saw a couple highlights of that.
Did you?
Yeah. You guys want to see a couple highlights? What do you think?
It's a good one. It's a good
All right,
one. Let's do
check
it.
it out.
I would say for this hypocrite, it would be time to look in the mirror.
Oh, it's time?
It's time.
It's time to look into the
look in the
mirror. Let's do it.
You said in Iraq and Afghanistan, the U.S. military killed more civilians than the IDF did in Gaza. You just told me that. I never heard that before. And my question is, how do you know that? What are those numbers?
And I'm trying to explain to you that there were extraordinary efforts to keep
You
the
don't
number
know the numbers,
of
do you?
I think they were tens of thousands. I'll get them for you.
Well, you brought it up. That's the only reason I'm pushing
but I'm wearing a flag. I work for a country, and
He's wearing the flag,
He's
folks.
wearing a flag.
Off the hook,
you
right?
pretended or alleged that somehow I'm not loyal to this and that I'm
You just
criticizing my own
said they
country,
did
and
a
I'm
better
not.
job than the U.S. military in Iraq and Afghanistan. And I said, what are the numbers? And you said, I don't know.
No
so
idea.
on what basis are you making the claim that the
How does an ambassador for the United States of America not be able to tell you what the numbers are in any form? In any form, how do you not know the numbers?
Unless he knows the numbers. And he doesn't.
Unless you know the numbers.
Unless he actually knows the numbers. They don't benefit him to tell you the real numbers.
IDF in Gaza spared more civilians than the U.S. Army and Marine Corps did in Afghanistan and Iraq. Why are you saying that? Like, on what basis are you saying that?
From the conversations that I've had with the people who fought there. And I don't have the
So based on conversations, not actual numbers
Yeah.
that he could get.
Based on conversations.
Unreal.
exact numbers for you.
You said in
Conversations that he probably had with other Israelis, by the way. There's a Megyn Kelly clip where she admits that she was there when she heard Charlie Kirk tell Tucker Carlson to go at them hard talking about Israel. Tucker Carlson told him, look, Charlie, that's a good one. That goes right into what we're talking about.
Oh, this is good.
You and I are
He
both
talks
supporters
about
of
it
Israel and have defended Israel since the beginning of this conflict and spoken out about the anti-Semitism that has erupted on these college campuses many times. Whether the
land rights given to Israel. I believe in fulfillment of prophecy. And I'm an American citizen. Yes, I want Israel to win. Yes, I'm a Christian. But like some of the mess, and you've seen how I've been treated, Megyn, by some, not all, by some.
No, it's very irritating.
It's
been
almost
so
as if
unfair. They were coming after you after Turning Point for, among other things, that you had Dave Smith there. Dave Smith is allowed to criticize Israel. You had both sides. The Israeli side was
you're not allowed
overrepresented.
to, though. I want them to win. I've said that repeatedly.
Same.
And however, Megyn, you're hitting on something very potent and important. Now, let me first say, I don't want to judge an entire group because there's been many people in the pro-Israel world that have been very sweet, very kind, very nuanced, very Charlie. You know, you're with us. You don't have to agree all the time. However, and I will say this, the behavior by a lot, both privately and publicly, are pushing people like you and me away. Not like we're going to be pro-Hamas, not like we're going to, but we're like, honestly, the way you are treating me is so repulsive. I have text messages, Megyn, calling me an anti-Semite. I am learning biblical Hebrew.
Just like they did to Candace Owens.
Yep, just like they did to her.
That was his ride or die, Candace Owens.
Yep.
And writing a book on the Shabbat.
And now he's dead, and she's crazy.
I honor the Shabbat, literally the Jewish Sabbath. I visit Israel and fight for it. And there's another article out in the Times of Israel today. I could read it on air. I was just reading before I got on. Charlie, what are you doing? Like, what am I doing? I'm sorry. Like, let's just take a step back here. Like, I'm an American citizen. Yes, I want Israel to win. Yes, I'm a Christian. But like, some of the mess, and you've seen how I've been treated, Megyn, by some, not all, by some.
No, it's very irritating.
It's
been
almost
so
as if
unfair. They were coming after you after Turning Point for, among other things, that you had Dave Smith there. Dave Smith is allowed to criticize Israel. You had both sides. The Israeli side was overrepresented.
Though. No, you're not allowed to.
No, you're not allowed to.
No.
And you got to keep sending them billions of dollars too.
Billions of dollars. Can't call them out. You lose your job. You lose your life. And this goes all the way back. Even Michael Jackson went through this. We have a fun clip for that for you later.
Again, I just want to repeat for the 5th time. I love Israel. I want Israel to win. But my moral character is now being put into question, Megyn. Not my decisions.
They do.
Not like, hey, are you doing this? Is it smart or is it dumb? But no, I am a bad person if I do this. And I could go, you saw it, Megyn. It was trending on Twitter, thousands of tweets and text messages. And if I were to be charitable and generous, I will say the people that are attacking me are in a hyper paranoid state because they're at war, and war tends to make things black and white, and you're a hammer looking for a nail. So I'm trying to be charitable, Megyn. Literally, I'm trying to cut as much slack as I can, right? Like, okay, what would it be like if all of a sudden I'm starting to see a pattern of behavior similar to what my grandparents saw in 1930s Germany online? How would I behave? So that's like my charitable.
And that's one of my main points is I'm tired of hearing, I want them to win because I'm a good Christian. Talking about a religion that does not believe that Christ is God, for starters. They don't believe that. And Christ himself says
they say he's a false prophet.
He says that he's a false prophet. And then Christ goes on to say that it is no longer about lands or titles. It is about the love of him. And if you love him and believe in him, then you are Israel. It's not a land. They believe the opposite because Jesus ain't there. And that's why they believe they are superior to us. They refer to everyone else, especially Christians, as goyim, which means beef cattle, like our soldiers.
True.
Kind of overcompensation spirit. At the same time, I'm like, but it's not defensible to be dumb, right?
Yeah.
So
and it's offensive. It's offensive to those of us who have been out there defending them in many instances against critics on our own side. And now you have a couple of comments like, well, what about this? Well, has it gone on too long? Like, is it time to wrap it up? And the thing about Epstein is just so bizarre. I don't know who he was an agent for. It might have been Israel or an asset, or it might have been nobody. Yeah. But
I think it was.
He definitely was. You read through some of those emails, you're going to find out pretty quick. Israel was created by the Rothschilds family, and that's not a conspiracy. That's you could Google that. It's in his autobiography. He said it. Israel was created by the Rothschild family. Jeffrey Epstein worked directly under the Rothschilds. He says so in the emails. They are at many of his parties, and he says that's where he gets his funding from. It is all connected.
we're allowed to speculate about that. It's like there's some rule you can't go there when it comes to Israel.
See, a lot of people don't understand Israel as a nation was only put together in about 1947. It was originally Palestine. Palestine is ancient. The Greeks write about Palestine. They have been there for thousands of years. Israel once was a nation and then was no more. It became a nation again in 1947, which was a bunch of Jewish refugees from World War II that were taken in by Palestine. The American forces moved in and basically took that land for the German refugees that were there. So essentially, Palestine invited people over to their house. And then when Palestine walked out to get some milk, they locked all the doors and changed all the locks and decided they weren't leaving. And that's where we're at today. I want you to remember the weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, okay?
Okay.
And now that we're here in 2026 in Iran, I want you to pay attention to the dates at the bottom.
All right.
This guy has been BSing us for years.
Use a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year. It could be within a few months.
They have the wherewithal, the stored up, preserved knowledge to make a bomb very quickly if they wanted to do it.
Iran is so dangerous. Weeks away from having the fissile material for an entire arsenal of nuclear bombs.
They're very close. They're 6 months away from being about 90% of having the enriched uranium for an atom bomb.
Iran is gearing up to produce 25 bombs, atomic bombs a year, 250 bombs in a decade.
Ladies and gentlemen, time is running out. This reminds me of the war in Iraq, where we were supposed to find weapons of mass destruction that just so happened to never be there.
Unbelievable.
1996.
Want to break into cybersecurity, but don't have...
Any week now.
Any day. Any day.
Now, wasn't he the same guy? And I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask it anyways. Wasn't he the same guy who said Iraq had weapons of mass destruction?
Oh, I think he was.
He was. It was him. He was the first one to say it.
Why are millions of Epstein files still classified?
I haven't kept up with that. I've never met the man. I don't know him.
You haven't kept up with the Epstein disclosure?
I mean, only from a distance. I'm 6,000 miles away from D.C. these days.
You attacked me personally for suggesting that Jeffrey Epstein had ties to Mossad. I'm not saying he worked for Mossad. I don't think we know that. But there's no question that he had extensive contact with CIA.
But I think you said at Turning Point event, everybody knows Jeffrey Epstein.
I said everyone thinks, and it turns out everyone was right.
It's a New Year show.